Welcome to SNY Point Blank TV. I'm Chris Bonta. Joining us on the line today is the general manager and head coach of the Niagara IceDogs of the Ontario Hockey League, and that's Marty Williamson. Coach, thank you so much for joining us.
Good to be here, Chris. How are things?
Things are really well, thank you. I appreciate that. I wanted to have you on because you have two great prospects who, whether they go to the Islanders or not, they're going to go in the top 10 of this draft. So I wanted to get your background on those players. Of course, they're Ryan Strome and Dougie Hamilton. But let's start off with the center first. Ryan Strome, your thoughts on his really incredible leap from last year to this year in his draft year in his play under your tutelage.
Well, obviously a unique situation with Ryan that I drafted him 2 years ago when I was the coach of the Barrie Colts, and then I traded him to Niagara, and then I've now become the coach and GM of Niagara. So we've kind of followed each other, and I loved him when I drafted him to the OHL, and I think he's going to be a great pro. He's just exploded, had a fantastic year, and the big difference from year one to year two in the OHL for Ryan is he got a little bit stronger, and now he's able to do the stuff he did when, we thought there was so much potential there. That, he's a good skater. He's got a wonderful vision. He just makes everyone better around him, and, again, 106 points in his second year in the OHL. And he's still got a lot of growth in him. He's still 170, 180 pounds, and he's still got a lot of filling out to do.
Do you see him projecting as more of a playmaker? You're just looking at the stats, obviously 73 assists versus 33 goals, I believe. Is he, like you say, he makes everyone around him better? Can you also see him continuing to develop as a goal scorer as he gets into the pros?
Well, the funny thing with him, he's actually a very good goal scorer, but he loves to move the puck. He loves to really set people up, and he's very difficult, for goaltenders to defend because he has that ability just to find people all over the ice. He shoots the puck very well, and, again, if he got a little more selfish, I think he could score 50 goals and have less assists. But, he's just got one of those knacks of really liking to move the puck.
Marty, people like me, when we see the highlights, and he's scored so many flashy goals, and he certainly has some flair, some great flair to his play, but sometimes that gets confused for then, somebody who's super talented, but, cares more about that stuff and isn't as committed. But from what I understand from talking to scouts who believe he should go somewhere in the top 6 picks, that's not the case with Ryan at all. This is a dedicated young man.
Well, absolutely, and he is probably one of the most popular teammates you could have, and he is on our team. Just a wonderful personality, a happy-go-lucky kid, always has a smile on his face. Coach's dream, you can be tough on him at times. He never mopes, he never puts his head down, very accountable. And it's funny, you see those YouTube shots of him scoring these highlight goals, and you think, he might be this kind of fancy-dancy player, and yet, Ryan takes a lot of pride on making the right play, the simple play, or, and it happens that sometimes people are expecting him to do that, and every once in a while he throws in that razzmatazz.
Can he be a #1 center in the NHL down the road?
Absolutely.
Okay. In the playoffs, was there a little bit of a drop-off? Obviously, the competition gets tough. Any disappointment with his play?
Well, there was a little drop-off, and I think he hit a little bit of a wall. It had been a long season on Ryan. He had participated in a whole bunch of, those draft prospects and top shows where they bring the draft guys to. And I think the season wore on him. He lost a little bit of weight, and I noticed that I thought he just dropped off a little bit. So, it's a fine line from, excelling and being average to some extent. And I don't think Ryan was ever average, but there was a little bit of a, again, I think he, I rode him hard all year. So I think he just wore down a little bit, and that happens with young players.
Would you recommend, I know this would probably be your wish, although I know you would wish the best for Ryan and Dougie, but would you recommend one more year of junior for Ryan?
Well, it's not my position to, kind of get into that. It would be the NHL team. But from what I'm hearing from most scouts is that they believe he'll come back and play. He hasn't gone through a World Junior type experience, and those things. he's built a little different than a Skinner, who's, just got that lower body that's just, can go and go. So, I would anticipate it, but you never can write anything off. He's got another summer of development. He'll be a little bigger and stronger going into camp, and, who knows? Again, I think, right now, if you talk to most of the people, they would say he's a year away from the NHL.
Okay, Dougie Hamilton, what can you tell my viewers about him? Honestly, we don't get to see your players on a regular basis. We see the Strome clips and the big numbers. Defensemen are harder to gauge. Can you give us a thumbnail on Dougie?
Well, Dougie is an extremely focused young man. This is a player that won the academic award in our league. I think in his calculus class he was 99.6% was his mark.
Wow.
Very, very focused on his schooling, his hockey, himself. He's meticulous in how he takes care of himself. Dougie's one of those guys that's mature beyond years. He's a very interesting young man and just a stud of a hockey player. He's a big, strong 6'4", 190. He still has some filling out to do too. He's about 190 pounds, but there's no, he's lean as can be. High hockey IQ. Likes offense. I think that'll settle down for him a little bit at the pro level. At our level, he loves the offense. Very good in his own zone decision making, and again, he's one of those big body type guys.
Has he continued to put on mass, gain strength under the work of you and your staff?
Well, he is, and he's one of those that actually got stronger as the year went on. And as I say, he's meticulous in how, he's one of these first on the ice, last off, first in the gym, can't get him out of there. We worried about him kind of getting run down, but, again, it's like he lives and breathes, trying to be a pro. And, he's interesting, he's got a goofy side to him, and yet you see him after games and he'll go through a 30 to a 40-minute routine, making sure his body's ready for the next night. And, you just appreciate a young man that does that at such an early age. It's one of those guys that can have a lot of longevity to his career.
Knowing him as well as you do, Marty, I bet he's going to probably really impress the scouts at the scouting combine at the end of this month.
Absolutely. Again, they're just going to see the big frame. They're going to see such an athlete he is. And, again, his mother and father both won medals at the Olympics. It's quite a family they have. And, the genes are obviously very good, and he'll be extremely impressive at the combines.
If you're a team with one of those top 8 picks, Marty, is it impossible to compare him to Ryan Murphy? Are they just completely different players?
They really are. They really are pretty different players. To compare them is kind of like, the Murphy kid's kind of like a Boyle or one of these small Campbell, one of these small offensive type guys. Maybe lacks a little bit in his own zone. Where, Dougie's more of a Bowmeister, that big body that can really shoot the puck, can log a lot of ice. They're pretty different hockey players. I'd like to have either one of them on my team, but they're pretty different.
Yeah, it wouldn't be bad to get both of them and put them in, maybe even pair them together. If Garth Snow or the Islanders scouts were to call you, or probably already have contacted you during the season and asked for character references for the two players, what would you say about them?
Well, they're both can't misses. They're a little bit different personalities. Where Dougie's a little bit quieter, kind of got a goofy smile on his face and that, but he's a little quieter. Ryan's more of a social butterfly a little bit. Really enjoys all his teammates and hangs out, and where Dougie's just a little bit quieter on that. But again, both of them, extremely high character kids, and there'd be absolutely no issues that way at all. They're both great teammates.
Excellent. With my last two, I hope you don't mind. You've had some distance from the playoffs. I'd like to ask you your thoughts on 2 Islander prospects, one whose team you beat, and one, unfortunately, it went the other way.
Yes.
If we could start off with Calvin DeHaan, the Oshawa Generals, the Islanders' recent first-round pick.
Well, an elite player, and when you talk about Ryan Murphy, it's similar with Calvin DeHaan. Just how they can skate. The game is just so easy for them because they're effortless skaters. Great competitors. Ryan's still got, to get a little bit bigger and stronger, I think, but he's, he had a great series against us, and we tried to shut him down. It was our big, thing with Mr. DeHaan was just get the puck out of his hands. He's got that great patience where he can hang on to it, and, we just told our guys that you better go right to him and stand beside him because he'll make plays, and, he's going to, be a real nice prospect for you guys.
Casey Cizikas projects in the scouts' minds as a really strong third line center, but I suspect in your playoff series against Mississauga, St. Mike's, that he was a lot more than a third line center.
Well, absolutely. He's a real pain in the rear end to play against. Casey is just a complete player. Every shift is like his last shift. I have not seen a player, work as hard as Casey does. And, he did a lot of great things for the World Junior team in the penalty kill because, again, he's just tireless. He just hounds you. And he's strong. He's very smart. Obviously, great leadership qualities because he is the heart and soul of that Mississauga team. And they're on their way to the Memorial Cup. So, he's had some great, grooming behind him, and that's what he is. He's not an explosive kind of offensive fancy player. He's a meat and potato guy, but one that the fans will love because you just, he doesn't bring you out of your seat with fancy moves, but he brings you out of your seat with work ethic.
Marty Williamson, thanks for your time and best of luck with the Niagara IceDogs.
I appreciate it. No problem. Thank you.
Thanks, Coach. Bye-bye. Check out IslandersPointBlank.com for your Islander news and our exclusive videos. We will see you next time.